Welcome back to our series on tips and tricks of bank negotiating. Today's our second part of our series. Second part is going to be titled How to Deal with a Bank's Verbal Counteroffer. Okay, we have a blueprint here with three different aspects to it. Aspect number one is a caution, and this caution could save you guys a lot of money. Okay, caution number one is be very careful on how you respond to a bank's verbal counteroffer. Okay, I personally, when I first started doing this business, I lost this a lot of money. Okay, you know the old saying that he who speaks first loses? Okay, this is a perfect example. Okay, banks give you a verbal counter just to wait to see what your reaction is. If you are too excited when they give you a verbal counteroffer, they know that you have an emotional tie to that property. I mean, you got to understand, they know that we are investors and that we buy properties to turn around and sell them. They're okay with that, okay? But just know that they leverage you in the fact that if you're too emotional on your reaction, they know they could get you up from that number because they know you got a hell of a deal. So be careful on how you react. Now you may ask me, okay, well, how should I react? Best reaction are two different ways. Number one, you could flinch. That's a fantastic way for you to react. Now, for example, if they come back with a counteroffer of $155,000, whether it's a good buy price or not, you should always flinch. Oh, $155,000? Are you kidding me? There's no way I could buy that property for that amount of money. Okay, that's one way. Another way is just to react in a nonchalant manner. Okay, you pause. They counter you. They give you a verbal counteroffer. Bob, we're countering you guys at $155. So you pause and you say, okay, well, I have no idea if those numbers will actually work for me, but let me run my numbers. Could I get back to you tomorrow or the next day? It might take me that long because I have to run my numbers and cross-reference them with the repairs that are needed on the property. What are they going to say to that? They have zero leverage on you. So be careful how you respond to any counteroffer. Okay, that's aspect number one. Aspect number two of our blueprint, okay, is always defer to a third party or a higher authority. Now, aspect number two is more of a strategy. Okay. Now, when you defer to a third party or a higher authority, let me give an example of what a third party or higher authority is. Third party would be to the buyer himself, if you're not the buyer, to a real estate agent, or to an attorney. A higher authority would be to a business partner that actually holds the money, to a boss, or the one that kind of goes back over to a third party, which I like, is use a hard money lender as your higher authority or third party deferral. Okay, I'll give you a quick example of that one because I love this one the most because this recently worked like a charm for us. Bank called us up. We had a property, let me take a step back. We had a property in the north end of Hartford, which is one of our inner cities that's just getting beat on now. Okay, market values are just dropping like you read about right now. Okay, so bank counter offered us $120,000, and I said, okay, well, let me do this. Let me call my hard money lender, since that's how I'm buying this property, in cash, and let me have him run the numbers. So he goes, okay, fantastic, call me back tomorrow or the next day. So what I did is I waited 3 days, called him back on the third day, and I said, listen, we have a big problem. And the bank's like, well, what do you mean you have a big problem? Guess how much this property appraised for? And I got him into it, and the guy said, well, how much? I said, $90,000. I said, listen, I'm willing to buy this property at $90,000, but I can't pay a penny more. The guy's like, oh, are you kidding me? All right, just do this. Just submit the offer. Let me see what I can do. Lo and behold, that offer got accepted. Well, that's a fantastic, fantastic strategy. I love that one. Okay, now third and final aspect of our blueprint, and which is another strategy, is always use the takeaway. Okay, in a down market like we're in now, a takeaway works fantastic. 2 years ago, the takeaway was very difficult to get done and to get pushed through. Okay, the reason being is because banks were willing to take properties back 2 years ago, because 2 years ago the values were steady and holding. If the bank took the property back as an REO, guess what? They did okay. Nowadays it's different. Let me give you an example of how we use takeaways. Takeaways to us right now, we use two different ways. One, if we're the buyer. Two, if we're the loss mitigation company representing a real estate agent. Okay. Now, a quick example of how you could use it to your advantage as a buyer. Okay, is you can say, listen, you're countering me at $155,000. The most I'm going to pay is $140,000. Now, you guys can either take it or leave it, but I'll write it up, I'll submit it. Please submit it to your manager or submit it to your investor, see what happens, because I can't pay a penny higher than $140,000. If I wanted to pay more, I might as well go on the MLS and pay for an overpriced property. So what you did there, you gave him a take it or leave it. Okay, he knows at that point that if he doesn't work with you as a buyer, then they're probably going to take this property back on as an REO. Okay, that's example number one. Now, example number two, if you are a loss mitigator working on behalf of a real estate agent, what you could do is say, listen, this property was listed for X amount of days. I've already gave you a listing history. I've given you a log of showings. I've given you days on the market. I've given you how many foreclosures are in that area. And this is absolutely ridiculous. What else do you need to get this property and this contract accepted? Okay, what do you expect us to do? We're going to pull this property off the market right now. What do you expect us to do? This is ridiculous. So when you put that back on them, they have to give you an answer. Okay, what you're going to do is rescind that listing agreement, and guess what? They're going to own this property. They don't want to own properties these days. So those are two quick little takeaways. Okay, I could go on forever, but obviously we don't have time. Well, with that said, that's a quick little blueprint on how to deal with the bank's verbal counter offer. I'm actually going to start, just on a side note, I'm going to start a quick question and answer session. You could go to my website at www.askboblachance.com with any questions on loss mitigation negotiating. That's it. Please do me a favor and keep the questions only geared towards lender negotiating. That's it. And I'll try to do my best to get back to everybody. Obviously, I'm pretty busy here. I have a job to do during the daytime, but at night I'll try to get back to the majority of the people. But with that said, we'll see you guys next week on our part 3 of our series. Thanks a lot, and you guys have a great and profitable week.